As you can see from this list, there's a lot of different reverb types that you can go for. Each single one offers a different sound and a different texture, and depending on what you're doing and what instrument you're putting your reverb on is dependent on what reverb you want to go for. But the first thing I would always suggest is if you're going to put a reverb or a delay in, do not plug it into your channel strip. The reason I say that is because you want more control over it. If you wanted to do something to that reverb, which is I'm going to show you in a minute, then you wouldn't be able to do that if it's on the channel, because you're then also affecting the vocal itself. So we're going to remove that. And instead what we'll do is create a bus send. So if you go to where it says send here, click bus, and then go for bus 1 for now. Label the bus reverb 1, and then what we're going to do on that bus, we're going to insert chroma verb. Before we play it, we're going to go option and click to get it to be at a 0 send level. Just be mindful that you've got to have your dry level always at 0 when you are using reverb on a bus, because you don't want the dry signal coming through the reverb as well.
Feel I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years already golden. My growing up is closer.
Then what's a really great thing to do on reverb in general anyway is to add like a chorus on it. So if we go to modulation and we just get a chorus, and what that does is it kind of twists the reverb as it's reverbing, and it just gives it a bit more movement. So it's not so flat. It's not just doesn't come back as a straight reverb, but it has a bit of, again, a bit of more texture to it. So let's have a listen.
I feel I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years already golden. My growing up is closer. So tell me how it feels like, or this is just a riptide. I don't want to be broken.
It's almost like you're adding a bit of delay in there. See, now it's started to sound really classy.
My future is not as bad as it seems.
So all I can hear now is that the reverb sits nice coming in, but it tails off quite quickly. Now, there is still reverb there, but I don't want to make the reverb longer, because then I'm going to get a really washy kind of reverb and it just overlaps too much. And then you don't get that precision of each single sentence kind of coming across really well. So what you can do after that is you can put a compressor on it. And the compressor will drop those louder levels down and bring up the quieter levels. So automatically now we're having a longer reverb without actually increasing the decay of the actual reverb. So the reverb's not any longer, it's just we're hearing more of it.
I feel I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years.
And now what you're hearing is you're hearing the ends of those reverbs really well, and you're finding now that the end of that reverb is overlapping with the next sentence, which that can start being a problem. So what we need to do is we need to just drop that off. And the way we do that is we're going to sidechain the vocal into the compressor. So that basically the compressor is going to reduce the level of the reverb when the vocalist is singing, and as soon as the vocalist stops singing, it brings it back up, and how quick and everything, we can adjust that. So what we do is we go up here to sidechain and we select the audio channel, and we've only got one, so it's quite easy. So you select that vocal channel. So now when the vocal sings, it will do a volume reduction on that reverb.
I feel I'm getting older.
See what I mean?
And leaves will keep falling.
Okay, that's way too much, but that's to give you an idea.
Already golden.
So if we then go to reduce between 2 and 6, now you can hear that that reverb's coming back really unnaturally quick. So we've got to set the release time slower so that that reverb volume comes back slower.
Don't want to be broken, 'cause I still keep hoping.
So that's spreading that reverb much better, and also you're hearing those words of the next sentence coming in really well. What I would do now is I would just extend that reverb a bit more. I think we can get away with getting a bit more out of it.
Older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years already golden. My growing up is closer.
Let's see how that works in the bridge.
Then my future is not as bad as it seems, and I swear I will be patient, they told me.
It's getting a little bit too drowny for me in there. So if you press X and then go into the mixer, and then as you can see, this is your reverb bus here. So if you quickly just activate that, what it does is it brings that bus into your arrangement. So now you could say, well, you know what, I'm going to automate that a little bit. So you're going to bring the overall volume down to stop the clouding under the vocals, and then you're going to push the ends after the vocal has sung, you're going to push those up so that that reverb becomes more noticeable again.
Then my future is not as bad as it seems, and I swear I will. Then my future is not as bad as it seems, and I swear
Right, so I've just copied those across. Obviously, we will have to adjust them, so I'll just adjust them a bit.
Then my future is not as bad as it seems, and I swear I will.
So the thing that would really bother me, and it's something that I would do, is that S there. I would actually automate on the guide vocal, I would automate that S out. So I would do that by going in here and saying latch. And then I will automate the bus send level from the lead vocal. So there, I've made a little marker and just drop that down a bit.
Then my future is not as bad as it seems, and I swear.
Okay, let's have a listen to that overall and see how that sounds.
Feel
now.
I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years already golden. My growing up is closer. So tell me how it feels like. Or this is just a riptide. I don't want to be broken, 'cause I still keep hoping. Then
Yeah, see? So in there, for instance, you can then say, okay, you know, I want that increase there as well. I want to lift that up in there as well. You can do that basically by highlighting it with Shift or selecting the bits you want with Shift and pressing Option and then dragging it to where you want it.
open. Then my future is not as bad as, 'cause I still keep hoping. Then my
You could also go into the reverb now and say, you know what, actually, just on that particular bit, I think that note needs to be longer. Put the automation on.
'cause I still keep hoping. 'Cause I still keep hoping.
You probably don't need to have this coming up as much.
'Cause I still keep hoping. Then my
Yeah, and this breath here, I wouldn't have that in there either. And then we can say, you know what, actually, I'm just going to put another reverb on. So we go to bus 2, put 0 send on that again as well, and then get another reverb. And on this particular thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for I'll do vocal chamber again. There's lots of other things you can do. I'm going to put a bit of airy in or something. So what I'm going to do, and this is a bit crazy, but I'm going to go
side is me just like a kid.
late attack.
Older, older. I feel I'm getting older, older. I feel I'm getting older, older.
So as you can see, that's almost becoming like a delay. So what we're going to do with that is we're just going to gently have that really, really softly. And you can just bring that in where you want it. So again, if you're on bus 2, if you click that once, it will come in, rename that and call that reverb 2. We can now control that.
Getting older.
It's rising too quickly, the size, bit distance a bit more, and slightly more decay on it.
I feel I'm getting older.
Yeah, and then we just take the top end off a little bit and we take the bottom end off. So this is all really that middle frequency we get coming back.
I feel I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling. 18 years already golden. My growing up is closer.
Because of the attack, you're getting that sweep coming in now. You're getting the size, so it's big, and you're hearing most of the reverb from distance, and it's quite long. So you're getting that sweepy back in there now. I will add compression onto the channel, but again, I will move the slots down and put an EQ just in front of that, the same as I did before. A nice cut, take anything under 200 off, probably more like 130, 140. And then again, do the compressor and again have that going from the guide vocal. Let's see what the level is on that.
I feel I'm getting older.
I'm gonna put on a modulation effect. So I'm gonna put a tremolo on it.
I feel I'm getting older, and leaves will keep falling.
Nice.
18 years already golden. My growing up is closer.
That's really nice.